Hello, everybody. Renee Sullivan here with Darrin Johnson and Asla Cavell. Our topic for today is consistency in your business, which I think we've talked about a lot, but it's really very, very important to stick with things. It was a great topic suggested by Darrin, and I'm actually going to put you on the spot, Darrin, because I know you've been developing your plan and been very consistent in your business. And I'd love for you to talk about some of the things you're doing in your plan to show the consistency that you're having. And then I think it's good for all of us to kind of share some of the things that we're doing that we're very consistent about. So I'm going to let you go first, if that's okay.
Sure. So one of the things that I have done is I put together a business plan because when I got started online, there were a lot of distractions, for lack of a better term, a lot
Mhm.
of opportunities, a lot of different people's perspectives on how to be successful online, a lot of different plans and a lot of different teachings. And after a while, it can kind of become overwhelming because you're sitting around trying to figure out how to, get from where you are to where you want to go. But it's easy to get sidetracked because you might be moving along a certain path and then all of a sudden you find a video or an email from somebody who says, no, do it this way. And then you think, okay, well, maybe that's a better way to do it. And so then you trail off and you lose your momentum and you start doing it another way. So what I thought I would do was to actually write out a plan and just stick to it and commit to that plan. And my goal is to stay committed to it for at least a year and just to see, how things are moving on. And then hopefully after a year, continue to build on that plan and get to a point where it starts to basically run itself.
Mhm.
So I've designed something that I call my knowledge is power plan. And the way that it works is I show people how to, first generate initial income that they're going to need for capital to invest in their business. And then in so doing, I show them how they could take that money and then put it into their business in the form of either buying advertising for their business or upgrading into, trainings and products and things that they're going to need to be successful. And I show people how the pieces all fit together and how they're not random and how there's synergy amongst them and how they're all necessary to be successful, and I feel like my plan is empowering because for me it shows me that I have the ability to do something about changing my life as opposed to kind of relying on gurus and people to train me. I'm kind of showing people how they can train themselves and be their own gurus in their own lives to evoke the kind of change that's necessary if they're willing to stay consistent and put in the work. As an example, for me last week, I talk about $75 per week is the minimum it's going to take to get your business kind of off the ground, which is not a lot of time to generate that kind of money if you do like side gigs. And so I'm kind of leading by example for myself. I'm doing side gigs. Last week I did Uber and I drove for about 4 or 5 days to generate the money necessary to buy my first ad campaign. So for me, that it's Saturday, this is very exciting because I can see the culmination of all that driving that I did and how I'm going to now I have the money to actually pour into my business. And so that's a small win. And, again, it's because of consistency, because there were days in there where I felt like, you know what, I don't feel like driving today, or it's cold outside, or, I'm tired, but just kind of persevering and pushing through anyway, you get to a point where you're actually where you want to be in terms of taking that next step. And one of the things that I was listening to a training the other day, and this person was talking about, making sure that in your life, your business becomes an active part of your life. So you would never say you're too tired to be there for your kids. You would never say you're too tired to be there for your husband or your wife. You're too tired to, provide for your family. You're too tired to go to work. You're too tired to, do this task that your boss has you to do. You wouldn't tell your boss, hey, boss, I'm too tired to get it done. You would find a way to get it done because you know that has to happen. And your business needs to be the same way. You have to be consistent in your business, but you also have to make sure that you don't make excuses about why you're not moving forward. And it's easy to do that because it's your business and you're only accountable to yourself. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you got to treat it like every other area in your life.
Yeah. And I absolutely love the way you've set up your plan, especially with the Uber thing, because you're literally telling people this is in your hands, you know, and really there is no excuse for someone to say, you know, that they don't have money to get started in their business, because there are side things that they can do, like the Ubering or, you know, whatever side gig you want to do. It doesn't have to be Ubering, but
Right.
something that is going to help you get that capital that you need to get started. And yeah, $75 is a good figure, because it's going to take at least that. But the way you've set it up is you've eliminated any way that someone can come up with an excuse. And if they're coming up with excuses, they're not the right person. They shouldn't be starting in a business, period.
Exactly. And there's power in that too, because then you can look in the mirror and say, I'm not successful online because I'm not doing what I know needs to be done.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm not successful because I don't know what to do or how I'm gonna get the money for it. You know, I list like 7 or 8 different things that you can do. I mean, we're living in the side gig era. You can, you know, Uber, Postmates, Instacart, you know,
Yep.
DoorDash. I mean, there's just so many opportunities,
Yes.
you know, and I understand, like, even if someone doesn't have a car, these programs have it set up where you can actually lease a car through those companies for the purposes of doing the side gig. And of course, you won't make as much money because you got to pay the lease fee back to the company. But it's still a way. I'm trying to show people that there is an avenue if you really want it bad enough. And you just have to look at yourself and determine whether or not I want this bad enough to step out and do some things that, you know, I really are going to make me uncomfortable, or it's going to take more of my time or more of my efforts. But, you know, when I'm at the end of the road, I'm going to see that it's all worthwhile.
Yeah. And if you listen to people like Gary Vaynerchuk, he is the ultimate, and, you know, there's no excuses, you know, you just build it up. You know, he's so big on like social media and basically telling people there's no excuse. Even if you have a 9-to-5 job, whatever time you have, whether it be in the night or on the weekends, you can find a side gig to do something and get your business going, and then that could become your full-time gig. But it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. So awesome. I love hearing that, Darrin. I am really excited. I'm on your email list, so I'm really excited to, you know, watch your journey and see how you're going, and the consistent. And again, this is all about consistency. It doesn't necessarily happen overnight,
Right.
but small things over time become significant. And that's I love it. I love it.
Yeah, they say small stuff plus consistency equals traumatic, or not traumatic, life-changing results.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Aslak, I would love to hear what's going on with you and what you're doing as far as consistency, and any tips you have for us as far as that.
I building my blog, and I create new content to it. So I have not too much the results from it to show for, but I have using a program called Tribes for Pinterest.
Okay.
And Twitter. That's the area I'm walking through right now.
So are you blogging about your plan, or blogging about like your journey? What exactly are you blogging about?
Tips and tricks. Actually, I just tell how to do things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also build a second blog who will be a review blog of different affiliate offers and different things. But that's not released yet because it's a lot of things. And then I make a course who show how you build that blog, because with programs like Elementor and things, you can do that blog look very different.
Absolutely. And like, what made you decide to use those as, you know, parts of your business, or parts of how you're documenting your journey?
No, that's because it's a very nice way to reach people, because people will maybe not fall for a squeeze page or landing page, but if they can follow a blog, they will in time show interest for it.
Yeah.
And it's lots of tips and tricks there who I implement.
Awesome. My inspiration, honestly, for when I got into online marketing was I actually had a health blog. And it was my first eye-opener on, okay, people globally are actually reading this. Like I didn't know the power of that back then. I was doing it around like 2012, 2013-ish. And, you know, I was so new to all this. Now, I had no idea whatsoever about SEO or how to get it out to people. I basically hired someone to do all like I wrote the content and that person just did all the other stuff. But it was so impactful for me because I would be getting comments from people from all over the world, and I'm like, wow, this really is powerful. Like people all over are actually reading my like measly little blog. I'm like, you know, so it really made me stop and think, you know, I can probably do something with this online, although I didn't know then how to make it happen. But it was really the start of me opening my eyes up to the online world and taking it to a level where, like, now in my business, it looks nothing at all like what it was before, but it's like a journey. It's like the you know, the start of what it is now. And now there's dimensions of my business that aren't even online. So it's almost like some parts I'm going back to the roots of where I started, and then other parts is like expanding upon what I'm doing online. So it's really cool.
But you know, blogging is more than just a blog. It's also a kind of lead magnet where you collect emails, because a blog should have a pop-up window which is get the newsletter. It's a lot more to it just than writing it. But you mentioned comments. The comments I have get so far is comments I have to mark as spam, because there are people who have affiliate link or whatever. They go into people's blogs and put their link in the comments. So that's people who don't know what they do. Or,
right.
Yeah, so there is lots of troll out there.
Yeah, I get some of that too. Like, I don't vlog a lot, like, you know, like I used to, but I get that too. Ironically, though, you know, back in 2012, 2013, I did get some spam, but the majority of the comments that I was getting were people who were actually real people reading my blog and either responding to something I posted about health-wise, or like I might have mentioned something, a product that I use to do something, and they might have a question about that, and they might say, you know, is this something that you can ship to Ireland? Or, you know what I mean? And, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, it was actual real people. There's always going to be people who are spamming things and you know, that kind of thing. But the fact is, if you're consistent about the blogging or whatever, whether it be blogging, consistent about videos, consistent about your email marketing, people who listen and resonate with your story are going to continue to listen and resonate with your story. And that is how you develop those relationships. And in a post that I made, I think it was a few days ago or so, or maybe it was a week ago, I was talking about how if you focus, you're better off focusing on building the relationship than focusing on like the transaction. Right. And the meaning behind that is you don't get that transaction if you don't have the relationship. People aren't going to trust you or even know who the heck you are if you don't build up that relationship. So it makes so much sense to do things like what you both are doing. Like you both have a plan, you both have a way that you're being consistent about, and you're actually documenting in that. And honestly, the reason why I got online is I literally followed people who were documenting their experience, because something about what they said, or the video they made, or the social media post that they put on there, I was inspired. And I basically said exactly what Darrin said we want people to have. Wow, that person did that. I could do that. I don't necessarily know how, but I can do that, and that's the type of question that you want people to be thinking in their mind, is that, there really is no excuse. Whatever they're doing, I can do it, or I can create my own version of it. Once you start getting some knowledge and learning some skills, you can do that. It's very exciting. I'm following other people who either I've mentored or I've watched throughout the past several years. And to me, it's very inspiring when I see that they're developing their own versions of things that they were taught from others. That's really what we want to strive for. We want to see people, I truly, genuinely want to see people succeed, no matter what it is their passion is, or however they want to do it. I want to see them succeed. So it's a really good thing that I'm seeing a lot of people out there taking their own passion, their own version of whatever they've learned a couple years ago, and making things happen for themselves. Whatever, and sometimes it takes time to develop whatever that is. So one of the things I want people to know and understand is that when you are consistent, you will figure out what you really are passionate about and where you want to head to. Like Darrin, you decided, okay, I'm going to create my knowledge is power plan because these are the things that I know have worked for me, and I know that other people can do it. And Aslak, you decided, that I have these things, but I'm going to head in the blogging direction, because this I know I can be consistent about. I can actually record a journey or give tutorials, like you mentioned, and people are very, very much into watching tutorials because they want to know how to do things. So that's really inspiring to hear that.
Yeah. And it's like they say, if you build it, it will come. And one of the things about being consistent is it's just getting used to taking a positive action in your business opens up doors and lanes for you where you can actually, you'll start to figure the stuff out as you go along. And some of the things that you learn, you actually learn because you're taking action. Like you don't even know what you're going to learn until you take the journey.
Yep.
And then you'll come across something that will make sense in your business and that will be in line with what you're already doing, and just making sure that you have a very clear vision about where you're going. Because what's going to happen is as things come in your path and you learn new opportunities or new trainings, you'll be able to discern whether or not this is something that's a distraction or something that is going to enhance what I'm already doing. And I think that's the key in it all, just taking an action step and moving forward, doing something that makes you feel empowered. And there's so many different paths to success. It's not necessarily about doing it one way or the other, but like you were saying, Renee, finding something that makes sense in it for you, that it gets you excited, that makes you say, I could do that. You know what I mean? And yes, you can be successful doing it that way. It's not like a math problem where if you don't get the right number, it's wrong. This is more like an essay, where
yeah,
it's about your ideas and your plans and your vision, and just staying consistent. You will be successful.
I agree. And the funny thing is, like, I used to think I had to do it exactly the way, like, someone else who I saw was successful. And, I tried to do it their way. And to a point, I can see why you should do that in the very beginning, because you have to have a plan. You have to follow something. But like you said, as you go along and you learn things and you learn your own voice and your own way of doing things, you realize, okay, these are the things that actually did work, and I like doing this, and it is about the action that you're also taking, and what makes you feel good about what you're doing, and what makes you feel empowered, and you go that. And then, but you also decide, okay, these kinds of things, no, they are a distraction, or they're not working for me the way that they were working for that other person. So obviously I can't do it that way.
Right.
I can find my own way of making something else happen. And that is the beauty. That's one of the things I love about having your own business. And one of the things I love about the openness of like online marketing, because you can literally create whatever it is you want and make that happen. And also in my case is, yes, I was inspired, and I'm still doing things and online. I still have my long-term wealth plan, and I'm still following that. I'm very consistent. I continue to do the paid traffic, the whole strategy we've talked about. I also do the organic stuff with the videos, obviously doing webinars like this and being consistent, although this particular webinar series we haven't been as consistent on, but it's still there. It's out there and open for when we can. But I've actually expanded that into an offline venture that can literally go in any direction that I want to take with it. And some of the skills that I've learned through online marketing are things that I'm using in this offline venture. So honestly, you can make this become whatever you want as long as you're consistent about taking that action. The other thing I want to mention is, I don't know if any of you actually use like checklists or use accountability type stuff to be consistent, and what kinds of things that you do. I don't know if one of you wants to share some of those things.
One of the things that I use, I have a like a pin board, I guess you can call it. Let me see if I can grab it.
Okay, cool.
And so that keeps me focused and consistent, and helps me narrow my vision so I don't get distracted. Because when you turn on your computer and you get online, there's so much noise and there's so many different ways you can go. So what I do is I look at that board to see what I'm going to be doing, and I stick to that, and I block everything else out. And if I didn't write that down or print it out or have it someplace where I could see it, it would be so easy for me to get distracted. And that was something that I had to learn moving forward. When I first got started online, it's like attention deficit disorder. It's hard to just stay concentrated on that one thing because there's so much noise and so many different things out there. So I find that when I write things down and I have an outline of why I'm even turning on my computer, it helps me a lot.
When you turn on your computer, if you open your email, it's maybe the worst thing you can do, because you can burn 2 hours very easy just to go through emails, and maybe it's a YouTube video, and then you are on the run. Mm-hmm. So it's better to make the landing page on your browser to be the page you want to be at. Mm-hmm. Don't get that page with all these short links to email and YouTube and all that, Facebook and all that stuff.
I agree. That's probably a good idea. Actually, the first thing that does pop up when I turn on my computer is my email, because that's just what the default is. It might be a good idea to actually put something else in there. You're right, but because it can be so distracting. It can become like a rabbit hole of so many other stuff that you don't need to be doing. And that's why it's so important to have like a board or, a checklist and stuff. And I personally have tasks that I do every single day. And I actually use an app, and I basically have very specific things that I do every single day. And if one of those isn't done, I'm like, okay, I gotta find time to make sure that I get that, because those are things, although they might not be directly related to my business, they're actually what motivates me to continue my business. Like some of them is like my workout every single day, even though obviously my workout is not going to bring me business, but it's going to give me the energy to continue. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that, you have to do daily to keep you in the right mindset to continue your business. So that's one of the reasons why I brought that up, because some people, you know, they have the plan, you know, that's all laid out for them, but if they don't follow that checklist or follow that board that you do, they're not going to do it. You know, they're not going to realize that it has to become a habit or a routine in order for them to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
Even the simplest of tasks. You know, it's funny because, well, not funny, but some people, no matter what they're put in front of them, and literally it could be the simplest step-by-step thing, like that might take 2 minutes for them to set up, they can't do it. Because whatever's going on in their mind, they don't have programmed yet or taught themselves about consistency. They haven't taught themselves that, okay, you are responsible for your business, and if you don't do these tasks, you're not going to get to the next level. You know, you're not going to succeed. So that's why I think it's really important to address the fact that you need some kind of accountability to make sure you're doing the right things in your business. Because one of the struggles I had in the beginning is I was doing tasks, but they weren't necessarily the right tasks. Either one, I got distracted, or I was following the wrong people and doing the wrong tasks, or I didn't train myself not to get distracted by the emails or the, you know, the posts about the new opportunity or that kind of thing. What I think people need to understand is, if they have a group like this or have a community where people help each other not to get distracted like that, they're going to be much more successful. And that's one of the reasons why I created this webinar, this weekly webinar series, because we want people to have a place where they can go. If they don't have the plan, or they don't have the consistency, or they're struggling still and they don't know where to turn, we want to make it so that, yes, there is a place for you to turn. You're not in this alone.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's kind of serves as a pit stop to, you know, so that like a checkpoint for you to be able to say, okay, am I doing what I need to do? Am I doing those action steps? And, you know, if not, let me jump on this webinar and we can kind of talk it through and, you know, make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know. And so that is one of the things that I love about this webinar series, is that we have it as an open forum for people to come in and voice, you know, their concerns or ask their questions, or be able to, you know, get some clarification on where they stand and help get them back on track. Kind of like, you know, like I said, like a pit crew, putting the tires, the fresh tires back on the car. Okay, now next week go, you know, just take what you learned and keep moving forward.
Yeah. And we all need that. You know, any one of us at any point, you know, could say, oh my, I know I'm getting off track. And when you have a community like this where you can actually go to and say, hey, you know, I'm struggling with this right now. Let's do this Zoom today, and let's talk about this, and let's address this. Because sometimes just talking about it, it's like it activates the triggers in your brain that say, oh yeah, I can do this. You know, I have that support. And that's so important. So many times, you know, I really, yeah.
One of the things that I'll say, oh, go ahead. I was like,
oh, I just said that to get those aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've ended webinars before, and I've felt like this burst of energy and enthusiasm about what I needed to do inside of my business, just because I was able to kind of come in, check in, you know, brainstorm with you guys, and, you know, do the mastermind. And it really does ignite the energy inside of you. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. I totally agree, because even no matter who's on, there's always a question sometimes, or not necessarily a question, or something that someone comes up with, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't think of that. Wow, that's a great idea. And then that's something that you can take to your business to make it even better. Or if it was something that you helped someone overcome, it's that feeling, and like you said, Darrin, it's that ignited energy in you where you know you've helped someone. get through whatever struggle they were having. It's just a good feeling, and I'm all about energy. I feel the same way like every single Friday, because I have BNI Friday mornings, like early in the morning. And honestly, Fridays are my most productive day, just because I'm in a room with 38 entrepreneurs, all like-minded people, talking about things in their business, or a success that they've had, or something that they're looking for. And like, we're all supportive and helping each other. Like, there is so much energy in that I like. It just propels my day to be the best day ever. And, the more you do that, the more you're going to be consistent in your business, because you're going to see, oh, wow, there is help out there, or there are successful people out there. That's inspiring. And it doesn't matter what it is that they're doing in their business. It's just helpful to know people are succeeding.
Yes. And they're everyday people that are succeeding. I mean, we're not doing this webinar in our suits and ties and, dressed up on some island somewhere, something so removed from people that they say, oh, well, yeah, they've got it made, but look at, they're doing this from this fancy hotel. We're in our homes, you know what I mean? In our regular clothes, and we're regular people, and we're successful online because we follow consistency and a plan, and, we have communities and we stay plugged into each other. And so, my purpose is I want other people to know that they can also tap in and get plugged in and be successful too, without, having to be, having $1 million in marketing budget, or some sort of lifestyle that they've already coming from. You can be an everyday working person and be successful online.
Although, I don't know, in a few weeks, I am going on vacation in Myrtle Beach. I might want to do a webinar. I might not. I don't know. Depends on whether I want to do a webinar on vacation.
It depends on what way you turn the camera.
Yes. Yes. Well, we'll see. I might not even bring my computer. Well, I don't know. I don't think I can go a week without my computer, and not just for business, but just because I do like to stay connected if I can, just because you never know. But anyways, I just think that's funny.
That's funny. Yeah, no, that's good though. I mean, and I think it's important to show progress in your business. And if that progress led you to Myrtle Beach for a weekend or a week or whatever, that's great. That's awesome. Because that shows people you can do that too. You know what I mean? And there's so many other trainings and recordings of us that show us in our natural sort of habitat that, yeah, if you step out and you do a video on Myrtle Beach, that's great, because it shows people, you're not saying that, hey, I'm always vacationing and jet setting here, there, or the other,
No.
but the progress of your business had led you to a point where you could actually go to Myrtle Beach, and why not capture that? I think that's also empowering and inspiring.
And it's just fun. It's just fun to show people that you're yourself, and you can go out and do things. And even if I couldn't, just being outside just shows people that you're a real person and you do things. You're not always just at your computer at home, because you might have a job, or you have a life. You might have kids you take care of, or someone else you're taking care of, or just other things that you do. You might volunteer and things like that. And it's just nice for everyday people to see that you're average, everyday people, although we're not average. I think any entrepreneur is not average whatsoever. So awesome. Anything else we want to share before we wrap it up? I know we're actually almost at the end of time, but I wanted to know if there was anything else we wanted to share before closing out.
I just had a really quick question. You mentioned that you were using an app to help you with get organized. Would you mind saying what app you use?
Yeah, it's called Habit Share. I can actually, if I get your like later on, if I get your email, I can invite you to it, and basically you can share it. You can choose to or not. You can share this app with other friends that you have on Habit Share, or you can just share it with yourself to be accountable for yourself. It's not about, us saying, oh, well, why didn't you do your workout today? That's not what it's just about. It's something there to record whatever it is you want to record. If you want to record whatever daily activities you're, income producing activities. I put my workout. I put, that I'm going to listen to podcasts every single day, that kind of thing. But you get to choose. I'll send it to you after the webinar. I'll get your email and I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
You can see in the chat, you can see what I use to Pinterest.
Sure.
It's lots of videos explained there, and it's not something you can make money from, but
Cool.
it's a very good app to use.
Awesome. I think oh, it didn't work. I copied it. I copied that link and it told me that I can't use that. I'm going to try it again.
It should work.
I think I copied it wrong. Let me see. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. It worked this time. I think I just copied it wrong. Fantastic. And if anyone else wants that app, reach out to Aslak and he can get it for you. Or I just got it, so I can get it. I don't know if
you can get it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, you both, for sharing. And if you're watching this in replay and you find that it's benefiting you or someone else, please feel free to share it. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.